Good morning, everyone. Just replying to a YouTube comment because there's been a lot of them in the last day. Almost entirely having to do with this guy. Figure we wait a little while to get into that, but literally just answering questions nonstop about that radio. I've got lots of thoughts on that radio, and I'm sure you folks do too. We'll let you know. I'll let you know as we go on. How's everybody doing this morning? It is Sunday morning here. 10 o'clock, my time, a.m. Enjoying a nice, fresh, hot cup of, it's not Ruby Moon coffee, but it's in their cup. I got some other stuff I got to work through before I get to the good stuff, you know. Sorry, JB does that and it irritates a lot of people. I just did it. I apologize. I won't do that again. How's everybody doing out there? I hope everybody is doing well. Got a chance to fly this week. It's been a while since I've had a chance to fly. Actually, I've always had chances to fly. I just haven't gotten around to doing it. Between weather, work, and just, you know, kind of not feeling it. Didn't really get around to it in the last couple weeks, but I had a short day of work. Like Thursday? Screw it. I've had parts to build this little guy forever. So I built myself a little 1S baby tooth. This is using the BetaFPV built-in ELRS board that they sent me for review a while back. Caddx Ant. Unified Pro 32 Nano. Some of Bob's 13mm. I see 11,000 something 100 kV motors. A couple blades, and I'm using his these little GMB 500 milliamp that come with the XT30 on them. And I have to say, it is a ton of fun to fly. Don't crash because you're not turtle moding out of anything, but it is a ton of fun to fly. It's been a long time since I've flown a 1S whoop. Kind of reminds me of being able to fly a tiny whoop just with actual control outside. It's pretty nice. I like it. It's very confidence inspiring. Like literally first pack outside after like all my test hovers and stuff, just went out and just ripped a Matty or an inverted yaw spin around a tree, and then eventually crashed into another tree. But you know, whatever. That's neither here nor there. I'm getting some work done to the Suzuki TS 250. Had to rebuild the headlight. Sealed beam headlight no longer available. Fixing it. If you guys have any idea what kind of effort that takes, it's a lot. Over in the chat, Ricardo Ferreira, thank you for being the first person here, or at least the first person to comment here. Beer emoji. Too early for that. Coffee. Steady Eddie. He's got the right idea. Gonna go fire up Pop-Tort. It's gonna be one of them streams. Fire up a Pop-Tart and get the day rolling. Pop-Tarts are breakfast for champions. Brandon Baked Beans, thank you for coming out today. He says, push that like button. I would greatly appreciate if you did that. It would, how's other people put it? It will help other people see the content that I create here to help them out. There you go. I love scrambled eggs and French toast, but there are no dishes with Pop-Tarts. You are thinking like a true champion. That's the way to do it. Pedro, hello. How are you doing this morning? John K, welcome. Lord FPV, how are you doing this morning? Borked, as always. Thanks for coming out. Bob Noxious, what's up, fam? How you doing, man? Market Zero, how are you doing today? Thank you for coming out. Blades FPV, good morning. Borked says jumper effed up. Yeah, kind of. We'll get into that. There's lots of different opinions, but like, you know, like they always say, opinions are like everyone's got one and they all stink. So I'll give you my opinion. Steady Eddie ordered a hot air station. I have a local guy with a ripped off update port on a HD0 board, reinforced the rest of them with some glue. Nice. Wouldn't be a bad idea to reinforce them with some glue, but I think it's maybe just hopes and dreams. I think if you rip that pad off, you're probably going to rip whatever glue you put on there, unless you're using an epoxy. I think most people's go-to is going to be hot glue, but hot glue is not as structural as people think it is. It gives you warm and fuzzies. That's about it. Danish Stallion, first time viewer. Thanks for coming out, man. Glad to have you. Free Range Chicken, good morning. And that gets me to my patron list. Free Range Chicken. I have a new patron in the house. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Greatly appreciate it. Andy Taylor, how are you doing this morning? Rob Logan, welcome, man. Yep, he's here. We can start. Thanks for coming out, my friend. Oh, Brian FPV, how you doing this morning? Andy Taylor says, bean. I read beer. That's, yeah. Sorry, man. I don't read well. I got that Northern Michigan education. So today, do you want to go outside? Is that what you're doing? All right. The dogs are either telling me they want to go outside or she's just circling, waiting to pee on the carpet. All right, I'll go outside. Go on. They don't ask to go out. They just look at you and go, "Ball's in your court, boy. Figure it out." Oh, man. All right, so what we got going on today? What do we have going on today? I'll be giving away the Darwin Baby Ape. If you haven't gotten in on that giveaway, go over to tweetfv.com, hit that Patreon button, and you can sign up over there. It turned out to be a much better quad than I thought it was going to be, especially for the price. It's pretty nice. The camera is kind of hot garbage. It's certainly flyable, but it's not the worst camera I've ever flown. But it's not bad. It's not bad at all. I'm tired this morning, guys. I'm sorry. I am tired. So we'll get over to the big topic of the week, and that's radios. Everybody is trying to come out with an ExpressLRS internal module radio. The first person on the scene, I'll be honest with you guys, at least that I know of, was this one. This is the BetaLiteRadio 3, and this is actually a pretty decent radio for the price. I think this thing's hovering around the $40, $50 mark. Definitely comes with some of the best gimbal protectors I have ever seen come with a radio. These things are slick a cone, nice and soft and squishy. They grip on the sticks ever so nicely. This radio has a lot of downsides. It has external bay. Unfortunately, CRSF protocol only. Does have internal charging, internal batteries, and no screen. So the idea is you just set this up with your binding phrase, and then you just put your same binding phrase on everything else, or things that don't have binding phrases. You just bang the little bind button, and you're good to go. This radio is, this is what BetaFPV's fourth radio, something like that. And I think they finally figured it out. This thing is actually pretty nice. It flies really well. I've been flying whoops in the house with it pretty much for the last 2-3 weeks. This has been my, anything that's on ExpressLRS 1.0, which is all my whoops, I've been flying with this thing. And I'll be honest, it's very natural, very easy to use. Plus it's cheap, very cheap. So if I was gonna put a kid on a trainer or give them set somebody up with a beginner kit, that would be my choice of radio. It's very, very easy to use. Not gonna break any switches off, just rockers and switches, rockers and buttons, latching buttons. We'll get to that in a little bit here. But very easy to use radio. Pretty happy with it, and it works great on the sim as well. But as far as I know, that was the first one with ExpressLRS inside of it, and they're using their own custom configurator. It looks exactly like Betaflight configurator, just says BetaFPV, and it has all their radio functions in there. They do have ExpressLRS 2.0 firmware out for it. I haven't gotten around to doing that yet. I probably will sometime this week. Obviously, I'm going to make a video about it because that's kind of what I got to do, when you're hammer, the world's a nail, right? Oh, man. So the next one on the block was the T Pro, and I was looking at the all the advertisement for the T Pro before it came out, and it was supposed to be ExpressLRS. Super excited about it, and then they came out with it, and it was another 4-in-1 radio, and everybody just lost their collective about it because we wanted ExpressLRS inside. Well, that didn't happen. We got another 4-in-1 radio with external bay with an odd choice of momentary switches. These don't latch. Which, after using this radio a little bit, it's not that big of a deal. It's not as big of a deal as a lot of people are making it out to be, but it does require a lot of... it does require some advanced OpenTX skills, or EdgeTX. We're just going to keep calling it OpenTX because that's what it's all kind of based off of. But it does require some advanced OpenTX skills to get them to be useful, at least in our quads. I have heard people say that they're not supposed to be for arming. I don't believe that at all. But anyways, so I kind of wrote this radio off, and then apparently they released the ExpressLRS version. I didn't even realize that. So ordered it up, got it in. It's 1,000 milliwatts, no fan, so this thing is going to get stupid hot. One person commented, and actually that was just what I was replying to, is they said, oh, you don't get a module bay. You do get a module bay, you just got to kind of screw it onto the back of it, kind of like how the T Pro worked, or the T Lite worked. But there's some other issues with this radio. And the issue lies with the fact that Jumper never communicated with the ExpressLRS devs or the EdgeTX devs to make it so it was possible to use EdgeTX pass-through to flash the internal module. So the only way you can update this module is over Wi-Fi. And unfortunately, what happened for me is my computer kind of glitched out. I'm kind of doing some other dumb stuff on the side of the computer that's stressing it out. And it failed the update. And unfortunately with ExpressLRS, when you fail the update, you typically brick the board. It bricked in like the sense that you could still recover it. It's just unusable. And all the other ExpressLRS stuff, you have other options to flash firmware besides just over Wi-Fi. You have typically Betaflight pass-through, or you have a physical plug to plug into. And then worst case, you have to brute force it and just get out the old FTDI adapter, which if you have ExpressLRS, buy yourself an FTDI adapter. You're eventually going to need it. You can bust out the FTDI and, brute force your way into forcing firmware onto the module. Well, unfortunately, the way this radio is set up, there's no option other than over Wi-Fi. And if you brick the flash, you no longer have Wi-Fi. So this did take some doing, and you had to get into and hook up an FTDI adapter and force the firmware over to it, which I've got a video on how to do it. It's kind of a pain in the butt, but it's very doable. I've been contacted by another ExpressLRS dev with a alternative way to flash firmware to this internal module, and I'll make a video on that probably today. I just haven't gotten around to testing his method, which both of them still require you to open the radio up. One of them does not require an FTDI. But my way is 100% reliable. I've seen some people say that the way the dev was saying is kind of like hit or miss whether it works, but anywho, there's that. So that's what happens when the manufacturer doesn't talk to the developers. You get weird issues. They did talk to the Radio Master team when they were developing the Zorro, and they talked to them about how to make it so they could use EdgeTX pass-through to flash an internal module through a cord rather than just strictly over Wi-Fi. And ExpressLRS team does recommend the Zorro. It's kind of like when BetaFPV released their first light module. They didn't really talk to the devs, and they kind of screwed up one of the design aspects of it. And my camera is bouncing off of my monitor. That's better right there. Okay. So, it is what it is. I really wanted to like this radio. The other thing that kills it for me is the gimbals. Look at these bastards. Look how high these things stick out of the casing. The surface of the gimbal is almost flush with the top of the radio, and I honestly have a hard time reaching I have a hard time reaching the top inner corners, but I'll be honest, like once I start flying it, I don't really notice that. I'm never going full throttle and full right yaw, you know? It's like when you're examining it on the bench, it seems like a thing, but in all practical practice while you're flying, it doesn't make a difference. But other than that, I do like the shape of it. It does feel good. I don't really like the momentary buttons, but using sticky switches, logical sticky switches, you just make them, you know, click on, click off, click on, click off. The only downside of that is you don't really know what state that switch is in without looking at your radio or doing like audio callouts. But anywho, yeah, I mean, it's not a bad radio. It definitely could be better. 1,000 milliwatts without a fan is ridiculous on this thing, though, guys. Like, there needs to have a fan on it. I haven't tested to see if the power throttles back once it gets hot. I haven't even done the bench review of this thing yet. It just bricked the first time I tried flashing it, and I've been going down that road ever since. Back to the chat here. Brandon Baked Beans ended up ordering a Happy Model full-size Pro module to upgrade my current ELR setup. I'm going to keep the old module on 1.0 for now and move all my other models to 2.0. Yeah, Brandon, we talked about this on Rick Cepeda's live Discord stream, and I really wish that ExpressLRS would allow you to flash the module from within the radio, kind of like other radios do, like all the XJTs, the R9s, things like that. That would be kind of nice, so you could just bounce back and forth between 1 and 2 until you basically phase out V1 stuff. Ciati in the house. How you doing, my friend? Glad to see you here. Surprised you're up this early. Brandon Big Bean says, I want a small, cheap ELRS only TX that I could use for short mid-range ripping with my buddies. I might want that BetaFPV one if you like it. Tweet. Yeah, I do like it. It's a good radio so far. I mean, I've got about maybe an hour stick time on it. So, I guess. All right, and Ciati's gone. All right. See you, buddy. Ciati, if you guys aren't subscribed to him or you don't know who he is, go and check out his YouTube channel. The dude streams like damn near every day. Doesn't do a whole lot of like YouTube uploads, but when he does, they are usually just freaking epic. Let's see. I'm not even gonna try your name. Nope, not even gonna try it. One cool question: BetaLiteRadio 3 can be connected to the computer as a Bluetooth controller. It can be connected to the computer as a physically wired gamepad. It does not have. Hang on, I got a text message from my wife. I gotta double check this, see what's going on. Oh, not important. Mute the phone there. Let's see. So yeah, it doesn't have Bluetooth functionality, but it does have the ability to be plugged into the computer. You don't want to do Bluetooth anyways. That's a lot of latency. Oh man, Bob Noxious, tired, hungry too. Oh, hi too. Tired, hungry, and hi too. LL buttons on the shoulders, not for arming. Yeah, I don't buy that at all. 1 watt, no fan, says Brandon Baked Beans. Yeah, it says a massive radiator. I have pictures of what it looks like. It's not that massive. I think I took pictures of it. There you guys go. Here's what the massive radiator looks like. It's not that big, and there's really they're using convection to cool it, so there's no active cooling. That little part right here you see sticking out, that is this bit right here, but there's no venting above it, just that. And unless I'm wrong, hot air rises, cold air sinks. So where does it go? I don't know. I mean, maybe it works at 1 watt, no problem. Maybe having a fan on a 1 watt module is overkill. Definitely needs more testing. I'll just say that. Brandon Bake, let's see, Raven 187 says 18650s are possible in the Zorro, by the way. The mod has already been done by somebody. that is awesome. So that's one of the big downsides that I've seen to the Zorro is those 18.350s are way too small. But it will probably the runtime on that radio will kind of match the runtime on your goggle battery. Plus, they're using Quick Charge 3.0, so it should be a very quick charge. This thing takes an eternity to charge these stinking batteries up. But it does have internal charging. It's just really slow. And I've noticed it doesn't charge while it's on. At least I don't think it does. I'm pretty sure it doesn't. It didn't seem like it was anyways. Again, haven't really dug into it too much. Brandon Baked Beans says, jumper really dropped the ball. Most ELRS experts will have no issue other than grumpy complaining, but the average user would be game stopping. Yeah, I mean, you could use this as your arm switch. You know, you could use your 3-position rocker, but it's not in the right spot. I was really curious to see if they didn't intend these to be arming switches, the default model, what came as aux 1, because we know ExpressLRS, your arming has to be aux 1. They didn't even set those up. So out of the box, you still need to set up your entire model, which is probably a good thing. You know? It's Darts. How you doing this morning? Things cold in the D, I'm sure. Steady he says, once again, 2FPV to the rescue on radio fixes. Surely give you a raise or consultant bonus. They're not going to do shit. They're not going to do any of that stuff. So I do have another method for fixing the internal module. So I'm going to go and intentionally brick the module. That's kind of what I do. And then see if this other method works. So we will see. So here's what I got going on. 3 monitors set up here. The one on the left is portrait mode. And this is what I see over here. In the middle, I've got all of you guys chatting away, either over on Discord and I always monitor the live stream channel. That's open to anybody. Anybody can join my Discord. Go to tweetfpv.com if you want to become a Discord member, or click those other links at the bottom if you want to support me or become a patron and be one of the cool kids up here on the top. And then over on the right, this is the one I show you guys all the stuff that's going on. If you want to get my attention over on the live stream chat, type @tweet. We'll do it like this. So @it's darts, and then it'll light up an orange for the person you're trying to talk to. Kind of gets my attention. Or if you want to be super cool, hit that $sign at the bottom there and leave a super chat. I'll definitely answer your question. Doing a little playing around with OBS. I don't know if you guys have noticed the scene transitions, the little whoop. Things are moving around on the screens. Gotta let the dogs in. They're getting angry. Hang on. Whoop. You know, it's always scary when I see all 5 of the cats sitting in the backyard. Like, they're definitely up to something no good. They're probably plotting to kill something. Maybe me. I don't know. I have been feeding them regularly. Oh, man. Family Iver, how you doing this morning? Brand Magazine says Ciati's last freestyle edit was really epic. If you get a chance, you should go watch it. I will definitely do that. Lauren Upshot says a little disappointed with the Zorro. It only has 250 milliwatts, although that's where my current limit lies. I'll be honest, 250 milliwatts is plenty for ExpressLRS. Of course, 1 watt is better than 250 milliwatts, you know, but you'd be surprised what you can get out of 250. The other thing with the Zorro is it does have an external module bay, which is cool, but I don't believe the BEC on the external module bay is rated for what a 1 watt module would consume. And it's something I got to look into when my Zorro gets here. It'll be here Tuesday, and then I can give you guys my immediate thoughts on it. For me to use this radio as a daily, I think I would probably have to cut about 1/4 inch off of the sticks to make them just a little bit shorter. They're just too tall. And they're adjusted all the way down, by the way. And there is a link to what looks like... here we go. Look at this. So here is the internal mod to hack the Zorro apart and put in some 1850s. Today's going to be a rough one, guys. To hack it apart and put in some 18650s. That is well done. Well done. Jeez. Might as well, right? That is a heck of a mod. That's the way it should have been from the factory. Robert says, happy model 1 watt ELRS module for my TX16S is on the way from RDQ. Hopefully you use my affiliate link, right? You didn't. But if you, I would appreciate it if you guys would. It gives me a small commission and it really helps out. You'd be surprised how much it helps out. Tim, I'm not going to pronounce your last name because I'm going to butcher it. It says first stream for me and just got here. What happened? We talked about the T-Pro and a couple of the other radios, but talked about the T-Pro and some of the issues it has. Brandon Baked Bean says the link is on the Discord if you guys want to go see that. It's actually in the ExpressLRS community Discord if you guys want to see it. Trying to get caught up with the chat here. Where am I at? And Brandon Baked Beans put the link to that mod in the live stream chat. So go ahead and check that out if you guys want. I've been flying the Mambo for a long time now, and as soon as I pulled this thing out of the box, I'm like, ooh, it's small. I forgot how much I like gamepad style radios. I just like the small form factor. Just it packs down light, and it's just I like it. I like the fact that there's no big dingus arm switches on this thing. I really want to like this radio, and I still might. It's just I got to see what the other options are. So we have the Radio Master Zorro. It's on its way, and then the iFlight Commando, which isn't supposed to ship until after Chinese New Year. So that I think is like February 8th is when those things start shipping. I have one of those ordered and on the way. Well, it's not on the way, but I have one ordered. So we'll see. Rob Logan says, finished putting her back together. Unfortunately, did not magically fix itself. He is referring to his poor dead One Wheel XR Plus. Man, that's a shame. Be nice to see inside of there and see what I could find, you know? LS, now how about the Zorro? We've been talking about the Zorro for a little bit. The Zorro is on the way. I haven't held one. To me, it looks like a upgraded Turnigy Evolution. If you guys remember that radio, some of you guys might not have been in the hobby long enough to remember that radio. But that radio is this little guy here. So I started off on the FSI 6, and then I was going to get my next radio, and it was a real toss-up between this and the QX7. I'm kind of glad I went with the QX7 because FlySky just doesn't have, well, at the time, they didn't have any small 8-channel receivers. They were all just gargantuan receivers. But this is the Turnigy Evolution, and let's look at the... Let's look at the Radio Master Zorro. So, very similar. Go away, stupid pop-ups. Very similar looking radios in some ways, but then this shell is kind of based off of their... kind of based off of the T8. See the similarities there. They tend to reuse shells, keep the cost down. So it's a common manufacturing strategy because the molds cost a absolute fortune, probably $500,000 is kind of what my guess is what one of these molds costs. And what they'll do is they'll reuse that mold. They'll just have a die maker go and kind of trim the mold out for new features like the buttons and the scroll wheels. So then you have the same form factor. Look at that, same form factor, just with some additions, kind of like this radio and the DJI radio. I believe they probably got a hold of the mold, and it's a good way to save on manufacturing costs, and it's kind of recycling, you know. But that's just my thoughts. I am excited for the Radio Master Zorro. That's out of the three, that's the one I figured I would probably like the most. The other option out there is the iFlight Commando Ocho. That is this one here. It does have a fan. So, I mean, there's at least that. I know very little about this one as far as the specs go. I believe these are trim switches. But then again, like I said, I don't know for sure. I'm assuming they're trim switches. But this radio is probably going to have the same issue with the gimbals of being too high up in the shell for me and being too tall. But like I said, I don't have one in hand. There are definitely more options for this radio on iFlight's site than here on Bangers. It does say dual band antenna, but I believe that it's only in there if you choose the 2.4 and 900 megahertz model. You'll get a dual band antenna. Otherwise, I think it's just specifically tuned for the protocol you chose. But again, like I said, all speculation. Don't have one. Have no idea. I might touch the Zorro and be like, ugh, gross. No. Oh boy, where am I at? Oh, jeez. YouTube. I really wish YouTube would not do this thing where it just automatically decides to scroll. Zorro pulls 10 watts when charging. Nice and fast, like you said. Yep, they're complying to the quick charge 3.0 standard. Hopefully, they're complying to it. Athix says I'm late. You are. What are you doing, man? Nah, you're not late. Well, you're late, but it's okay. It'll be DVR'd. You can go back and watch it. Ellison says another failed design from Jumper. You know, Jumper's just trying to get ahead, and you know, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I wouldn't say it's a failed design. I think there are some issues with the design, but you know, it's things that the person who goes out and jumps on the pre-order or orders it right away before any of the reviews come out, it's things that they might miss that might be deal breakers for them. And look, guys, if you get it and it bricks, package that shit back up and send it back to the retailer. Let Radio Master deal with their issues. You do not have to fix it. You don't have to be that person. You can if you want. That's kind of what I'm here for, is like, I think most of us have kind of given into the idea that we have to repair the manufacturer's issues. Send it back. If it's not like I have to have this radio otherwise I can't fly, send it back. Send it back. Let them deal with it. Or fix it yourself. Follow my videos. Like, subscribe. Become a patron. Call to action. That kind of stuff. I felt dirty. Oh, man. Azek says, I want to keep my X-Lite, but I want ELRS. Hang on. I got something coming. It's going to take a while. Chinese New Year has really put a wrench in the plans. I got something coming. So just, Athex, just hold. You'll see. Hopefully you'll see. Oh, and the other thing, no VTX backpack in this thing. Like, what the like, what? Why would you not do that? It's one of the other big things that ExpressLRS has to offer. The Zorro has it. I don't know if the iFlight Commando will. If there's any ExpressLRS devs in the chat, let me know. Has iFlight been talking to you guys about their upcoming radio? I'm very curious. It'd be nice to know before people start buying it. I already bought it, but you know what I mean. It starts says it's 15 degrees in a D. That's in freedom units, folks. Gotta go and fly 3 rebuilds here shortly. Good luck, man. Stay dry, stay warm. I assume you're flying from the car. At least that's the way I did it when I lived there. Dan636 says, good morning. Good vibes this morning. Thanks, man. Thanks for coming out. Let's see. Bob Noxious says, see you guys later. This old dude grabbing some Z's. We'll see you later, man. Thanks for coming out. Steady A says, Athex, grab the Happy Model Slim Pro module. It will work in your X-Lite. That is true. Dan636 has changed my lights to red. Well, not anymore, but if you guys didn't know, all these lights are user controllable. You guys can change them to whatever color you want. Just put the exclamation point in the color or the hex code you want, and it will change the lights. And I think you can even do actions like exclamation point police, and they'll go. I'm trying to make that a super chat only function just because, you know, why not? I'm also working on the doggo treat dispenser. You guys do a super chat. Oh, look at those two. They're cold. My puppies. And it'll kick out some doggo treats. It's in the works. It's in the works. Cats always plotting to kill something. They are. Like, there's a head of a squirrel on my porch here. Yeah. Looking through the chat. Morton Upshot says 250 milliwatts hasn't failed me yet. The only signal loss is after it's already crashed in the weeds. Yeah, probably far away too. Found a new pilot that has great flow. Check out Jaws. I will check that out here after the stream. The reason I don't do them on the live stream is it is extremely easy for the YouTube algorithm knows when I'm like, they know what you show, and if you show something that's of YouTube content, they flag the owner of that content, says, hey, this person used your content, and literally it's one click and they could shut my entire channel down. And it's very unclear what that button means. Ciati got bit by this. He showed some stuff from like an auto tuning guide for Betaflight, and that person hit that button, didn't know what it would do, and it took his channel down for a month. And the same thing with if there's copyright music in there, it'll, you know, YouTube will flag my whole thing. It's just, it sucks. MX 250, would it be, or already is, your daily compact radio? What would be? Sorry, reading is tough for me today. Need more coffee. What would be your daily compact radio? As of right now, my daily compact radio is I don't have one. Prior to flying the Mambo, I was running the Tango 2 Pro. I really like that radio. I like the fact there's no switches hanging out of the thing to break off. I like the folding gimbals. It's small. It fit well in the hand. But I have moved past Crossfire and Tracer, and I'm all on the ExpressLRS train because it is one protocol to rule them all. Anything from my micros to my X-Class, it's all the same protocol. I don't have to swap in different modules and different... It's one protocol, and it does everything, and it's awesome. With that said, I know there's a ton of people out there flying Tracer and Crossfire, and that's fine. It works great. Keep flying it. I wouldn't recommend anybody getting into the hobby to buy into Crossfire unless you're doing super long range. But if you're doing super long range, you probably already know what you're doing, and you're not going to listen to my opinion. I'm talking to like the average consumer. I want this to be my daily driver. I really like the form factor, but it's going to take a while. This one didn't win me over instantly. Like the Mambo, as soon as I put my hands on it, I'm like, oh, I like this radio. Unfortunately, it's a full-size radio. And I like it so much that I was willing to look past that. And I really like the Mambo. I like it a lot. I've already replaced switches on it because they break off. Kind of sucks. It's kind of the issue with them. So I'm hoping for the Zorro to be something that I can daily drive. I've got a feeling I'm not going to like the Zorro form factor so much just because I have a T8 Pro. My daughter has it, and I haven't seen it in a little while. So I don't know. We'll see when the Zorro gets here. But I like the form factor of this one, just the way it sits. I don't like how high the sticks are. And those momentary switches, they kind of suck, but they don't suck that bad. And why, please? Oh, okay, I think I got to the why, please. If you have any other questions, let me know. Link to Zamad. There you go. There's the link to the mod. I don't know how far back in the chat I am. They don't put timestamps on here. I thought they did. It's weird. Rick Cepeda, welcome. Good morning. Hope everyone's having a good weekend. If you guys aren't on Rick Cepeda's Discord, Rick, as always, go ahead and drop a link in there. Rick Cepeda does a live stream on Discord every Saturday morning. Oh, this cough is killing me. Getting better, man. I'm having a heck of a time getting over this cold. Does a live stream every Saturday morning. Awesome dude. Huge in the community, well, at least in his local community. Stand-up fella. Fun Saturday morning live streams. It does get a little hectic in there, but it's still a good time. Let's see. Oh, stupid. The chat. I hate the chat jumping like this. Where are we at? Fred Big Beans, a small battery was really my only complaint about the Zorro. Radio Master needs to update the shell to fit 18650s. If that's what we want. Yeah, and it's funny, like, so everybody dropped their Zorro review because Radio Master had an embargo on the reviews, and every single one of them, they sent with that 2S external power cable because I think they know this is going to be an issue for most people, is the runtime. But how many of us go and fly for 2 straight hours having your radio on for 2 straight hours a day? I don't think many of us do. I'm not trying to make excuses for it. I'm just saying, like, it might not be as big of a deal as we think it is. Kind of like these switches. I thought these were going to be a big deal. They're not that big of a deal. They are a deal, but not a big deal. Yeah. Mark, how you doing this morning? Glad to have you here. The Turn Energy Evolution was cool, but yep, Fly Sky. It had like the LEDs and the clear gimbals. Like it was touchscreen too. It was way ahead of its time. Way ahead of its time. Is Fly Sky really that bad? My first quad was Fly Sky. I lost it before I had a chance to get good and other things. The radios are kind of meh. It's very budget entry level stuff. Their RC Link is very low latency compared to a lot of the other older protocols like FR Skies, ACCST, and Spectrum and things like that. It's very low latency. The receivers were always very big, and then they came out with a tiny little one antenna receiver, and that was awesome, except for that one would have uncontrollable flyaways, and it was a lot of quads were lost because of that. FlySky's not really competitive in the FPV marketplace. FlySky is very ground vehicle based, like, you know, RC cars and boats and things like that. There's nothing wrong with FlySky. It's just, if you're going to purchase a radio and buy into a protocol, I would say don't buy into FlySky. That's just my opinion, though. MX, I don't like the Zorro because I had a T8 Lite for my first radio and hated it. Hated that. The plastics and the gimbals, etc. Yes, I'm hoping the gimbals are better than what came in the T8. Where did that go? They came. Yeah, I hope they're better than what came in the T8. I have heard that they're planning on making like the all CNC AGO whatever type gimbals for it. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But we'll get apart and take a look at it. Because the recycled molds, I thought everyone was flying JR at first. Athix must have been around for a while because JR, Japanese Robotics, made the... So everyone knows what the QX or the X9D looks like. There was a radio made by JR back in the day that was exactly like the X9D. FrSky bought their mold and their design and started producing the X9D. So, yep. That mold goes way, 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 way back. Lobart says, I like the Zorro of the 3 options. I'd be happy if the grips were longer for more battery power. I don't know if the 18650s why they are in series, not in parallel. So most of these radios are running in series. That way they can get up to a 2S power. The external modules and the internal modules like to run on a higher voltage rather than doing a step-up conversion, which has other losses. They're stepping down or they're just using straight battery voltage. So most of these radios are running in series instead of parallel. So you're not adding capacity, you're adding voltage. Thorpe. What's the best starter radio for getting into FPV? I have small hands. The best starter radio is... the Radiomaster TX12. In my opinion, especially if you have small hands. Oh, hang on. Let me get you a link. Who asked that question? That was Thorpe, TH. Apparently there's 2 Thorpes in here. That is the radio I'd recommend for the small-handed folk. Radiomaster TX12. It's a great radio. I'm not a fan of the scroll wheel. Radiomaster has not done a very good job with the scroll wheels. They kind of suck. Mostly because they're just not very accurate. Like, you click once to the right and it'll go down 3 and then back 1. And I have to say the scroll wheel on the jumper is actually really good. Very accurate. And it's clickable. I like it. The scroll wheel, at least on my jumper or my Radiomaster TX12 and my TX16S, really suck. I do not like them. But it may just be the radio I got. Very good radio. Has some momentary switches on the front of it. Sliders, trim switches, does everything. It has an internal multi-protocol module, so you can fly Spectrum, Fly Sky, FrSky, a bunch of the hobby, like, little toy drones, and then you can also slap a full-size JR module in the back for Crossfire, Tracer, ExpressLRS, whatever it is you want to do, Ghost. So that's my recommendation for the best beginner radio, especially for someone with small hands that's not a gamepad style radio like this. Where are we at? Lawbart says, can you not use it while charging the Zorro? I don't know if the Zorro will charge while using it. I'm not sure if this radio charges while I'm using it. I plugged it in and messed around with it, and I didn't see the battery voltage go up. But this is also, I realized afterwards this thing is very slow to charge. It took hours to charge the 18650s in here. Mike Bergman says I'm chomping at the bit for this radio build. Yeah, me too. I mostly just want it off my bench because it's just parts everywhere. Phil, EOS needs to just approve some of this hardware. Jumper isn't the only company just screwing up EOS stuff. You are 100% correct. They are not the only company that's doing it. And it's not that they have to approve it. It's just the manufacturers have to say, hey, here's what we're going to do. And ExpressLRS and Edge TX will go, looks good. Or, hey, you might want to add in blank to be able to activate the boot button from software so you can push firmware to it through the USB port. Like that's all they have to do. But they're not even doing that. They're rushing to get to the market, and they're using their internal developers, and they're missing things because they don't understand how it works. And that's the unfortunate side about an open source stuff is anybody can make any hardware for anything. And they don't have to check with anybody. They can just produce it. good or not. Family Guy says, I wonder if 250 milliwatts is enough for ELRS long range on the Zorro. Brandon Big Beans, how far have you gotten out on 250 milliwatts on 2.4 gigahertz ExpressLRS? Please let us know. And you guys are playing with the lights. I hope you enjoy that. If you enjoy that. Super chat? Maybe? I don't know. Call to action? ESC FPV shoveling out some snow. Yuck. Brandon McBean says it is fully. I don't know about the antenna, but you can mod easily. Yeah, so the antenna is connected through a UFL, so you could definitely change the antenna out on this one at least. The Zorro gonna get hot at 250 milliwatts. Really hot, no fan. Not as hot as try 1 watt with no fan. 250 milliwatts with no fan is 100% acceptable, and that is actually in the spec of the E28 module. The LoRa module is it will run all day long with no external cooling at its maximum power output. We have specs we got to go by. Speaking of specs, this has a USB-C port on it. And guess what? Most of my USB-C cables do not fit this. And this is the same thing we found with the BetaFPV 500 milliwatt ExpressLRS module, and everybody said, stupid BetaFPV, they screwed up. They didn't. Here's the thing, guys. There are exact specifications for the USB Type-C standard. And here is the spec sheet. This is how a USB-C cable shall be made. And here are the specs. Where are we at here? So the max width should be 12.35 millimeters. Let's go over the bench. So .35 millimeters. The only cable I have that fits any of these things is this one. This just came from Samsung with my Samsung phone. And this is kind of what the ends look like on all of my USB-C cables. So the maximum width should be 12.35. This cable does not comply to the USB Type-C standard, but this one is exactly on the standard. And what do they specify for width? 6.5 millimeters at the max. .51. We're close enough. Here we go. Outside of the USB Type-C specifications, plenty within. So, I'm not going to bag on them for the USB cables not fitting, because these companies are now going to the official posted specification of how big a USB Type-C cable is supposed to be, and they're going by their spec. The problem is most USB-C cables out there aren't complying to the specifications. So this is not a failure on BetaFPV or on Jumper. It's a failure on whoever you bought your cheap USB-C cable from. That is something that just kind of crossed my mind this morning, and I figured I'd look into it. And this is to spec. The ExpressLRS module that... Is it this one? Ah, yeah, it's this one. Stand by. This one here that USB-C cables would not fit into, and everybody started bagging on them that, oh, they screwed up. This is to specification by the association that rules over USB cable sizes. There's actually a spec. There has to be. So now we know. Where are we at? A little bit of a ranty thing there. Oh boy. Oh boy, the chat jumping. Where are we at? Let's see. YouTube has a crazy streaming algorithm. Yes, they do. I've been running at 250 milliwatts for a year. Fine. Yeah, I rarely go above 25 milliwatts flying around the house. I can go everywhere that my video will get me. But I'm also in a really crappy RF environment, so take that for what it's worth. Free range chickens, I'm going to make the jumper work for me somehow. Yeah, you shouldn't have to make a radio work for you. If you get it and you don't like as soon as you put it in your hand, you're like, oh, this isn't good. Send it back. It's like buying a pair of shoes that don't fit. They're never gonna fit. I wish that Zorro had a smaller screen. That cancer with gross screen at top is just not needed. Yeah, I mean, it's a big screen, but it's not useful, at least for us in this hobby. Steve, man, the Nirvana NV14 for me. I love that radio. That was the happiest radio. I like the ergonomics of it. That was the best radio I had ever held. Athix says, what about Ghost as far as versatility? I'm on the LRS train, but curious why LRS is your pick for everything. I know JB is putting Ghost on all 5-inch builds. I like the fact that more than one manufacturer is making hardware for it. Ghost, I don't know. Ghost didn't start off strong. Like in the beginning, ExpressLRS was stomping Ghost in just about every aspect. Ghost has gotten a lot better. They've gotten better development. Most people who I know that race with Ghost, just because it does have a lot of functionality that helps with like team racing and things like that. But I don't see any reason to do Ghost over ExpressLRS anymore. All the functionality that Ghost has, ExpressLRS seems like it has now, especially with the VTX backpack functioning properly and all that. And being receiver agnostic, being VTX agnostic, to do like the receiver control stuff, you have to lose control of it through your BetaFlight OSD. It has to be controlled through the module itself. With ExpressLRS's implementation of it, any VTX can be hooked up. You can control it through your BetaFlight OSD just as before, and you can also control it through your radio, just like Ghost does. I don't know. I don't think Ghost is the protocol I could use across the entire board, because I don't think there's a Ghost receiver. Well, the Attos are pretty, or is it the Zepto? They're pretty damn small, and they would work in a micro. But that the EP2s with the ceramic antenna are super small and very convenient to put inside micros. You could make the argument you can go either way on both protocols, but you know, ExpressLRS is bringing things to the table way faster and way more often than Ghost is. Like Bluetooth connection for flying a sim. Not something Ghost has. Oh, hang on. Here we go. I cracked the antenna open here. I didn't look inside of it to see what's inside of it. Did they use glue? The antenna for the 2.4 gigahertz. This is stupid. This is really stupid, guys. All right, here we go. Dust cam. I don't know if you guys can see in there, but that. Out of the way. Bench is a mess. That's the antenna right there. Little PCB from here to here. So the antenna is about yay big inside this big honking bastard of a plastic mold. Sorry, squirrel. I was just picking at it and it opened up. I'm like, oh, go look. Wow, I don't know where I'm at anymore. Okay, so yeah, that's my thoughts on Ghost. There's just more development with ExpressLRS, much faster too. Looking for a Charcine. I think he meant Charsoon. Oh, yeah. Let's see. Rick Zapata, he posted his Discord link in there. Optimized Drone, how you doing? Welcome to the live stream. Philip Sonnenberg, but the 2S Power cable does not come with the radio. Yeah, that's my understanding is it does not come with it. It came with the reviewer pack because I don't know. I mean, I don't know that it doesn't come with the cable. I haven't gotten my Zorro yet. I'm assuming it doesn't. Hobby Howie says, how the heck do you make the DJI V2 goggles feel good on your face? Okay. The foam you need, and this is the best fitting foam, is this stuff here. Let's see. Is this stuff. And it's not perfect, but it's the best thing I've found so far. It's the same one that a lot of people I know run. It's better. And you leave the little wedges out too. I got a 21700 shoehorned in my jumper T-Lite. Damn, that's a lot. That's a lot of milliamps. Brandon Baked Beans, there you go. He's got the foam for you. Mine's an affiliate link, so click the one I did, please. Going through the chat here. Doom FPV says, I really want to switch to ExpressLRS, but I don't know what to do with my Crossfire stuff. Become a member of the Speedy Cares package, and when it comes to you, throw all that shit in there and send it along. I have actually, probably shouldn't say this. I'm not going to. Been talking to one of the big manufacturers in the industry about maybe doing a buyback of Crossfire stuff, kind of like what TBS does for FR Sky gear. I think it'd be a big, middle finger. I think it'd be funny as hell, to be honest with you. I was bored. I just want to see the world burn at this point. I was bored. Yeah, I just sell it. I mean, you could probably get $10 a receiver for them. There's still a ton of people that are all in the Crossfire ecosystem, and they will buy those receivers up, especially once, TBS, they always have shortages where they can't supply enough hardware. Hang on to them, then, scalp them like everybody else does with stuff. So don't do that. Just sell them. Or give them away. Give them to a buddy. Or throw them at a homeless person on Overpass. I don't know. I haven't bought any more Crossfire stuff. I do have quads that have Crossfire in them, but they're just getting phased out as things break or I get into having to do repairs. I'll go in and I'll swap them out for an ExpressLRS receiver. JFV is going to hit you up after the live stream for what we spoke. Let's go. I don't remember what the hell we're talking about, but hit me up afterwards. Maybe we don't fly for 2 hours straight, but might fly for 4 days and a half hour. Charge up. Yeah, but I mean, you're going to have to charge batteries, charge goggle batteries. Just plug your radio into USB Quick Charge 3.0 and be fully charged in under 30 minutes. Like, I don't know. That's a pretty decent compromise, I think. But again, it's a compromise. Yeah. Scott, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Greatly appreciated it. I greatly appreciate it. Words are tough today. Words are very tough, and coffee's very empty. And cold. Ugh. I don't... Room temperature coffee is terrible. Cold coffee is awesome. Hot coffee is awesome. I don't understand why room temperature coffee is trash. Here's a question for you, folks. I'll put it in a poll. All right. Who do you think is going to make the upcoming HD0 goggles. And if you know who's making them, please let me know. I have no idea. You think it's going to be Fat Shark? You think it's going to be Sky Zone? You think they're going to make them in-house or some other unmentioned manufacturer that I have on this poll? So let me know. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. Morning Upshot says the TX12 for the win. Just went ahead, more switches. Really? What do you need more switches for? Wow. I use like two switches, maybe three. Two, maybe three. Tops. I don't turn my radios off most of the time in between flights and quads. That's kind of bad practice. I have seen where people have, they were the I leave my radio on all the time thing, especially at a race, and they plugged in a quad and it just went bonkers on them. This is also back in like beta flight 3.8 days where the safety checks they weren't very good. And then you've also got your radio squawking at you the whole time. Morning Upshot says, I don't have small hands. And you still like that radio. I like it too. I don't have super small hands, but I do like that radio. I like the form factor of it. Lawbart says, I think all ELRS modules are demanding in battery life. I don't think we can get away from that. Nope, you are correct. Jay says, can someone teach me how to fly, please? Nah, you're on your own there, buddy. Ciati can. He has a fiver, and he will do individual flight lessons or schooling or whatever you want. Basically, he's kind of like your slave for an hour. If you just want to bitch about things or talk mental health, he'll do that too. But E-Drone, thank you so much for the $5 super chat there. Still working through the chat here. Jeez, man, this thing is... I am way behind. All right, I'm going to speed through this. Just looking for things with my name. Highlighted. Steady Eddie. I'm looking to do some whoop range testing between D8, Access, ELRS, EP2. I was going to use 25 milliwatts and ELRS. It looks to me like Access is 30 milliwatts. X9 latest, right? Does that sound right to you? Yeah, that does sound right. So here's the thing with range testing is every person watching it is going to call you a complete chill piece of and on everything you say. That's what's going to happen. Ask me how I know. But go for it, dude. Especially if you're doing it for yourself. If you're going to do D8 and Access, try throwing Red Pine in there. If you have a multi-protocol and an SPI board, try that too. Brandon Bakebean says he loves his T12 Pro. A little different. T12 Pro. Typical unprofessionalism from Jumper, hence why I do not buy Jumper anything. Then we got our last two chats. Lawbar says FPV does impact your battery life, or is it just the modules with the fans? Yeah, it does. It does impact it. Obviously, you're asking for more power, but most radios do shut off their internal modules when you select an external. So there's that. Yeah, family. If you got any reservations about ExpressLRS, me and just about everybody who's using it right now, they're great. They work really well. Yes, some people do have problems with the updating. They don't have a bootloader on the chip, so if you screw up a flash, you're done. You have to use a FTDI, a little adapter thing. I don't have one here in front of me for some reason. To flash the hardware, or you connect through USB if you have that option, or through Betaflight pass-through. There are other ways to recover from the flash, except for on this radio, they didn't think about that. So there are times where you have issues, and you brick a receiver, but they're almost always recoverable. And then once you get the hang of how everything works, like I know the configurator is really scary looking. Here, I'll bring it up here for you guys to see. I know this looks scary. Oh yeah, you don't want to be in the danger zone here. We're gonna go to official releases. You know, the configurator is pretty simple. If there's a new configurator, it says, "Hey, there's a new one." You click that, you go get the new one. You guys can't see it, can you? Hang on, there you go. If there's a new configurator, it'll tell you right here. Go and get it. Official releases, you select your version. You may not want to do pre-releases, but I do pre-releases. You find your targets. We're going to do like the BetaFPV 2.4 gigahertz. You find your device. You got to make sure you got your device name right. Some of these manufacturers pick stupid names for their devices. So we're going to talk about the 1 watt TX. You should be in standard mode. Don't do what I just did. Here, you can download your Lua script. Click that button. It downloads the Lua script. You don't have to go hunt for it. It just downloads it, in case there's an update. Pretty much all you're going to be using standard mode. If you're in the EU, you're going to click this button. If you're in the US and everywhere else that uses FCC, you click that button. Binding phrase. You set your binding phrase. This is what will match your receivers to your transmitter. You don't need to use a binding phrase, but I recommend you do it at least on the transmitter. This stuff, just leave it alone. UART inverted, unlock high power. This is all going to be set up basically the way it should be from the developers. Don't mess with it. No stick on it. Don't mess with it. Feature OpenTX thing, leave it alone. Telemetry, leave it alone. Auto Wi-Fi interval, leave it alone. If you want it to join your home network, you can enable that there. And then, if you have your module plugged in your computer, it's going to show a COM port. If you have it over Wi-Fi, it's going to find that, and you've connected to the SSID created by it, it's going to find it there, and you just hit build and flash. The build takes some time, especially if you haven't done any receivers or any builds before. But you do need to make sure you select the right one, because these things are kind of dumb. If you have a transmitter and you hit receiver, it will push that firmware to it, and it may break it. And then you'll have to find a way to recover it, either through hardwired, plugging in a USB port, or through an FTDI, or through Betaflight pass-through, Edge TX pass-through, depending on what it is, obviously. But, it looks scary because there's a lot of options. But for the most part, it comes set up. You just set your binding phrase. USB implementers forum sets the standard. That's what it is. Yeah, there is a standard. Yeah, you could shave a bit from the overmold to get down to the spec where it should have been. Mark says, is the QX7 a good radio for beginning? QX7 is an incredibly popular radio. I personally absolutely hated the QX7. It's the ergonomics. If you put it in your hand, it feels like you're holding a pizza box. It's always going to feel like you're holding a pizza box. Go hold some other radios. Like if you got some flying buddies, go hold their radios. See what you like. You may not like the QX7. I could not reach the inside of the gimbals, and I'm not even close. Like I could not hit. All right, man. I could not get all the way to the full travel of the gimbals, just with the way my hands are shaped. With the QX7, but it's an incredibly popular radio. People love it. From a purely technical standpoint, it is a awesome radio. And then throw ExpressLRS in the back of it, and then you have the best of both worlds. If you buy the Access version, you have the better inverter in it. I'm not going to go into why that's a good or a bad thing. If you buy the old ACCS T1, you may have some issues with the higher speed communication with the external module. But there's ways around that as well. Scott says, hey guys, I need help. I rebuilt my Mobula 6 now, and my control sticks drop below 1,000 and go over 2,000. And when my sticks go below 1,000 or above 2,000, it snaps back to center at 1,500. Ooh. Does it do that with any other quads? If it does that with other quads, you may have something borked inside your radio. You can always do a stick recalibration in your radio menu. Try that. Let me know what radio you're doing, and if you want a little more one-on-one, hit me up over on Discord, and I'll walk you through it. Dial up, made it! Congratulations. Crossfire is overpriced and can be a headache to deal with. TBS has had a lot of issues with firmware updates in the last month. A lot of bricked radios and a lot of incompatible receivers and transmitters. They're having a bit of a tough time right now. If anybody can get me a hookup on a Mambo or a TBS Mambo like the V1, I would like to take a look at one of those, even if I could just borrow it. Phil Sonnenberg, sadly, I ordered the ELRS jumper yesterday and canceled today. Kind of sad, but not into fixing manufacturing problems. Even if a failed update is normally User issue, but still, yes. Mine was a user issue. I just want to put that out there. I screwed up the flash. I mean, I didn't actively screw it up, but it was on me. I had stuff going on that caused issues. Let's see. Orca is partnering with Ghost. Orca has always been partnering with Ghost. Well, they've been partnering with Immersion RC, which does Ghost. Wayne McDoon, how you doing this morning? Sorry if I'm missing your questions. If you didn't link it, Brandon McBeans did your affiliate link. Thanks, Brandon. Appreciate it. Family Guy Refugee Exchange. I'm hearing is good for old gear. Yes, that is probably the best place. The owner of it, Nevin or Zanekis, you might see him on social media. Is one hell of a stand-up person. He has put a ton of effort, time, and let's talk about cash into that site. It's like the Amazon and Facebook Marketplace come together to make a great user experience. I've sold some gear on there. I bought some gear on there. He's also a dealer for Orca. I think he's a dealer for Happy Model and a couple other companies. So he's really into it. I highly recommend going to FPV Exchange for all your selling and purchasing of new and used goods. I mean, you can even buy new stuff through there. He'll have the prices of new gear versus what people are selling for old. You can make an educated decision. Let's see. Mike Bergman says, I just want to watch the world burn at this point. I feel you, my friend. Yeah. Scott. Oh, dang it. Stupid chat. Rebuilt Mambo 06. Okay, we talked about that. Yeah, give me a little more information. Let me know if it does it with any other quads that you have. Bound to that same model you have set up in your radio. Rebuilding it shouldn't have made a change, but I don't know what it is you rebuilt. I don't know if you threw a new flight controller in there. That might have something to do with it. But yeah, I need a little more information. E-Drone, you inspired me. I went ahead and ordered a better mic for my show. I'll be here this week. Awesome, man. I hope you went with the Shure MV7 because I think that's going to be the most versatile mic you can get. And the other thing you need to do, and I didn't discuss this with you, is buy a pop filter for the SM7B. The pop filter that comes with the MV7 kind of sucks. It's very thin. It doesn't work very well. The one for the SM7B fits right over top of it and works extremely, extremely well. And it doesn't really dampen the sound very much at all. So this microphone's actually, like, it normally is only about this long as opposed to like the extra inch and a half that this pop filter gives it, and that really helps out a lot. And then you can do it over USB, which works great. And then as you progress, you can get yourself a Go XLR, which is about the only decent audio interface. Get yourself a Go XLR and have all the control in the world. And if you guys missed it, I did I was on E-Drone's live stream last Sunday. Yeah, Sunday. And we talked all things FPV, and one of the things we talked about is live streaming and content creation, and the number one most important thing other than your content, obviously, is audio. Scott says he's on Betaflight. Bork says I was Navy. I drink 2 cups a day. I am still active duty, and I drink a pot a day. Two-day-old coffee. Yeah, coffee does not get wasted in this house. If it's 2 days old, it goes right in the microwave. If I have more time, I'll actually turn the burner on and warm it up from underneath. But typically, microwave. I'm not picky, but I know what's good coffee, and I like good coffee, but I tolerate bad coffee as well. They said they are doing it in-house. Ooh, really? That's scary. I hope for the best. They said they make them in-house. I missed that post, but wow. All right, well then this poll is pointless. Let's close that down. I figured they'd be going with Fat Shark just because they have business ties with them. They've had business ties with them. Fat Shark knows how to make a goggle. Granted, they don't like to go above and beyond. I know they've kind of. I know other people have like said they're not supporting these guys anymore, the HD Scouts, but they've never really supported any of the Divimath hardware. I think if you had a screen go out on it, they would support that. But if it has anything to do with the receiver, they're not going to touch it. Just my thoughts. Brian Mayland, all ESP32 ELRS modules are power hungry. STM32 are better, but who makes those these days? No, and they're way more expensive for STM32. If it had STM32, it would also have a bootloader burned to it, so you couldn't kill it with software, but you still have to have a way to interact with it, which they didn't give you on this. E-Drone, $5 super chat. Keep up with the great streams, brother. Thank you so much. Very much appreciate it. Oh, let's see. Is there a permanent fix for the T-Pro? Is there a permanent fix for the T-Pro? There is a workaround that's permanent, but it does require you to open up your radio and solder some wires in there. I'm going to explore that probably today or tomorrow, and obviously make a video about it just because kind of have to. But yeah, one of the devs has been DMing me on the side over on Discord with instructions on how to do it. I haven't tested it out yet, but I'll definitely do it sometime really soon here. Flight Lessons, download the sim. Yeah, fly like shiz. It might do to latency, but you get the basics. Yeah, for sure. You get the basics. Come on, YouTube chat. Stop doing this to me. Let's see. Let's see. North RC upgraded my Happy Model ES900 system to 2.1. Download the Lua script, and the Lua did not work on the radio. Its setting menu would not show, just said connecting. Oh, okay, so what happened is either you had a bad flash or you flashed the wrong firmware to your module. That's what happens when either the flash fails or you pick, like you can pick the wrong firmware and it'll take it and just not work anymore. Or you don't have external RF enabled with Crossfire in your model menu. You know what I mean? Like you gotta have the module turned on. But most likely, my guess is you probably picked the wrong firmware, the wrong target for your hardware. That's typically what happens. QX7 gimbal throws are long, like miles long. Yeah, the QX7 uses basically the same gimbals that most FR Sky radios use. It all has to do with where they place them height-wise in the shell. Like, these gimbals aren't super long throw gimbals, but you can see that they are very, very high in the shell, whereas most other radios... I don't have a radio here. Crap, we've been talking about this radio all day. I got one right here. TX12. You can see how far down in the shell the gimbal starts. So it has the exact same amount of throw. It's just where your thumb is change. Like it all has to do with like some geometry and angulation and things like that of the gimbal. These gimbals are. It's the same gimbal. Like I'm telling you right now, they're the same gimbal. The throw is exactly the same. The height of the stick is. Pretty sure it's the same. Stand by. Stand by. Yep. Height of the length of the stick is exactly the same, but the fact that the T12 is recessed into the shell about 6 millimeters, whereas the other ones are basically flush, maybe a few millimeters shallow. Does make a big difference in the fact that the TX12, you see the shell has some curvature to it. Come on, focus. See, it has a curve to it, so that changes how your thumb. I mean, because the throw of your finger isn't flat; it's got an arc to it. This radio is flat as a board across the top. So if these had a little bit of outward angulation to them, kind of like this radio, it would change the entire feel of the sticks. Obviously, it's not what they were going for as far as like the design, but same gimbal, same throw, completely different feel. Mike Bergman, you mean the Tango V1? Yes, the Tango V1. I want to get a hold of a Tango V1, even if I could just borrow one for a week or two. I just want to try it. I just want to try it. I don't know why. Let's see. Lawbart says, you touched on the access thing being issues for ExpressLRS, so XLite Pro does access, correct? Yeah, XLite Pro does access. So how's that fair? Does it not have ACCST as well? It does do ACCST. It just doesn't do ACCST D8. So here's the breakdown on access radios. Access radios, better hardware. They've upgraded some things in some of the other radios. The QX7, the initial ones that came out had a good high-speed inverter, which worked great. And then once they went into production, like mass production, they had to resource things, and they used a lower spec inverter, which caused telemetry issues with Crossfire, because Crossfire runs at a much higher baud rate than the older XJT modules that the Bay was designed around in the beginning. You can take all your conspiracy theory bullshit and pack it away. It all comes down to where they can get parts from, and it's cost stuff. If they didn't do it to brick Crossfire support, like, you guys are insane. Everybody wants to hate somebody. So where are they going with this one? Okay, so the access radios, they need a higher speed. They need a higher speed inverter for external stuff. The access radios, being newer than the old ACCST ones, especially the QX7 in this case, came with a better inverter for the external module. That's just communication back and forth between them. So access radios can do access protocol. That is a proprietary FrSky protocol. It's a faster link. It does over-the-air updating and a couple other new features. Not really anything game-changing, but it's kind of like a mid-step between their older hardware and some of the newer stuff coming out, not made by FrSky. Access will still do ACCST D16 because ACCST D16 can be region-locked for EU and FCC, depending on where you live. When you buy your radio, it's going to have a sticker on it that says FCC or LBT on it, and that will lock your RC protocol to your region communication standards, either FCC or LBT, obviously. D8 was and still is only an FCC protocol. ACCST D8 is FCC only. It does not comply to LBT standards. Therefore, you cannot use it in other countries. Trying to become a legitimate manufacturer of a RC control link that can be purchased by government and military and all that stuff, they need to comply to certain standards to become certified, especially like part 15 or 51 FCC certification. It needs to comply to those standards. So D8, bye-bye. D8 sucks anyways. It would have been nice if they made it so you could do D8 only if you're on FCC, but then you just have people trying to get around the region lock, which if you need to, I have a Lewis script that allows you to change your region. Just hit me up on Discord, So it'll do D16, it'll do access, it'll do all the external stuff. I don't know if that really answers your question, Lawrence, but yeah. Oh my God, 11:30. We haven't spun the wheel for the Darwin Baby Ape. I'm giving that away today. I have, let's see, how many people are entered into this thing? 39 people. Give you a chance to win your very own Darwin FPV Baby Ape. This is not the pro version. This one has the craptastic camera in it, but it works really well. It works really well. You'll have to solder in your own receiver because reasons. If you want Crossfire receiver, if you win this and you fly Crossfire, let me know. I'll throw a receiver in the box because I think I have a bunch more kicking around. I'll toss it in there because sharing is caring. I don't know. If you want to get on that, go to tweetfv.com, click the Patreon link, and get signed up over there. We'll spin that wheel here in about another 15 minutes, 11:45 my time. We'll spin the wheel, give that away to one lucky winner. I am sorry. I'm trying really hard to catch that. Every once in a while it sneaks up on me. Let's see. Scott, sorry for asking so many times, but I'm on the TX16S. Scott, make sure you go and I would go into your outputs page. I'll show you bench cam here. I know this is more of a one-on-one conversation, but maybe you guys can glean something from it.
Welcome to EdgeTX.
And if you're on EdgeTX, that's fine. This is all basically going to be the same. So you're going to go to... there you go. Go to your model page, and we're going to page over to our outputs page. And what we're going to want to do is look at your outputs here. So you said your sticks end up being really weird positioning. So I fly TAER. So obviously my first output's going to be throttle, and you can see the microseconds here go from 988 to 2012, which is perfectly fine. I don't really care about endpoints on throttle. But if you're doing this and you see it jumping all over the place and not going up smoothly, that will indicate that you have an issue with your gimbal. If you see that these are kind of matching what you see in Betaflight, then it's something inside the radio or inside the model. You may want to start off, calibrate your sticks, make a new model. If these don't jive with what you're seeing in Betaflight, it's something in Betaflight. You or somebody has gone and set like your your endpoints through Betaflight. I don't recommend doing that. That's a software solution for a hardware problem. Reflash Betaflight or clear those settings out one way or the other. And then what you can do, went the wrong way, is in Betaflight you can see if that fixes it. But let's say like for channel 2, which is roll, like see my center point is 1496. What you can do is you can trim to get to 1500 for your center. This may not answer your question, but this might help somebody else out. And then like my yaw is 1507. We can trim that out. I would recommend watching what Betaflight sees, because it's not always a one-for-one what your radio is outputting versus what Betaflight is seeing. Get everything trimmed out. Get your centers set. And then what you can do is scroll to the bottom of this page, and where it says trims equal subtrims, you hit that. Got a long hold, at least on this radio. And now my trims are centered up, but they have now reset where the center of your stick travel is based on what you had your trims set before. But now the trims are centered up in the model. If you need to change your output, so like, see my bottom, my throttle's 988. We can go to edit, and your min, we can roll this back until we get to 1000 microseconds. We can go to a top throttle. Oh, we're a little over. We're 2012. And we can dial this back. Until we get to 2000 microseconds. Now, my throttle is perfectly set up. 1000, 2000. Center is 1540. Doesn't really matter. At least for throttle, but you can change that too. Same way with your trim sticks. So we can trim it down to 1500-ish, and then sub trims. So now my center's 1500, but when you go back to your model, see your trims are all centered up. That's how I set my sticks. Also, if you come to this page and when you move your sticks around, you see that the little target jumps around and doesn't really follow what you're doing. It may be an issue with your gimbals, so you can try to recalibrate them. I don't know if that helps you out or if that answers your question, but that's just how I do it. Let's see, BCFPV, I'm thinking of removing motor plugs off a whip board and direct soldering motors. Is there a performance difference worth the hassle, you reckon? Yes and yes. You will gain performance, and it is 100% worth the hassle as long as you don't break anything. What I recommend doing is taking a pair of side cutters, nice precision flush cuts, and very carefully prying up on the motor plug. The motor plug the plastic part is literally just pressed down over the pins, and you can slide that up over the pins, and then you're left with just the pins there, and you're not fighting with trying to desolder all 3 pins at the same time. And then you can go through and desolder each pin. Just put a pair of tweezers on them, add some heat to it, pop them out. Other thing you can do is pull that plug off, and you can just cut them flush, and then solder your wires to it. It's a little hackier, but it works. LS says, do we know when RC3 Betaflight will be available? I thought it. I don't know. I really haven't been paying attention. I thought it was. Should also watch I'm paying attention. Let's see. RC2 is out. Not really sure. I think I heard that Betaflight was supposed to be out of release candidate by June. We'll see. You never know. Oh boy, chat jumped. Where are we at? Gonna hide the FTD inside the shell. No. Nope. There is a way to do it without hiding the FTDI, supposedly. We'll see. See, Phil Sonnenberg. So wait, there's a way to add UART update via USB to the T Pro. There is. I have a video. I released it yesterday. Go view that, and you'll see how I did it. The X-Lite controller had smaller gimbals. I believe. Yeah, the X-Lite controller has small gimbals. They are very small gimbals. There are a few outliers out there. Very small gimbals. But I really like that radio. That was a good one. Which radio is more ergonomic between the Radiomaster T12 and the X9 Lite S? The Radiomaster T12. Probably. So I would say probably the T12 is going to be more ergonomic for more people than the X9 Lite S, just because it's a little bit smaller and it's a little more angulate. It has a little more curve to the bottom of it, whereas the X9 Lite S is very straight on the sides. I like both. Both feel very nice. I like the gimbals way better on the X9 Lite S though. But then you're dealing with a smaller JR bay. You don't have a 4-in-1 in it. You have FR Sky access if that's something that you use. It all kind of depends. It's a toss-up between the two. I would say for a more universal fit, the T12 or the Radiomaster TX12. Is there a Radiomaster T12? Radiomaster T12. What is this one? Okay, people are calling it the T12. It's actually the TX12. The first radio I ever used was the Futaba Attack 4. Oof. Most of the Emacs stuff is D8 still, and not sure why, because they don't really care. That's why. Let's see. Brandon McPean says the TX12 different from now the old T12 Pro face. Only two. Yeah, okay, yeah. So there was a T12 Pro. The naming. The naming is just garbage. It's hard to find the T12 Pro. Where are we at? Here, so that's a jumper T12, not a Radiomaster T12. Here is the jumper T12. That's this guy here. It has the 2 buttons and the 4. Yeah, so that's a jumper T12. I don't know if I'd recommend that one. Some of those ran deviation TX, which is how you get the 666 millisecond speed with Red Pine. And am I finally caught up? June Loco, what's up, my ELRS peeps? Yep. I'm not saying, I mean, like, I am not beholden to any manufacturer. If somebody comes out with something that's better than ExpressLRS, I'll dump ExpressLRS like a wet bag and move on. I don't really care. I just want to fly what I like to fly. The problem I have always had is I fly a ton of different radios because, I mean, for the grip business, and then also, why not? Let's see what's better. I have been back and forth between so many different protocols in the last like 3 years that I don't know. Like I pick up a quad, I'm like, I don't know what this one's on. I'll just reflash it because I don't know what firmware it's using. I don't know what receiver it's using. Now I have a protocol that goes from the smallest thing I have to the biggest thing I have, and it's all the same, and it's not stuck with one manufacturer. I can go buy a receiver from BetaFPV. I can buy one from Namimno. Don't buy one from Namimno. I can buy one from Happy Model. I can buy one from Maytech. And they're all going to work. They're all going to work. I don't have to do anything. They're all going to work. It's great. I'm so happy with it. June Loco says his oral finally shipped. Mine should be here by Monday, Tuesday. I'm getting conflicting information depending on when I check DHL's website. Let's see. Dallas says, I feel like I need a chat trigger. Everyone says the TX12. We should have response. Yeah, got caught up finally. 666. Yeah, don't look into that too much, but that's what they say it communicates at is 666 milliseconds. Brandon McBean says, I personally have really loved my Jumper T12 Pro. The sticks creaked and squeaked. Niagel fix it. Yeah, any radio you get, slap some Niagel on those slider bars, and it makes it so much better. Yes, Robert. So I used to work for a John Deere dealer way back in the day, and I did all the field service calls, anything from ag to commercial to consumer. It didn't matter. And you do oil changes, and what you would always do is you'd write the date and the hours on the oil filter with a paint pen. And on more than one occasion, the lawnmower was at 666 hours, so I wrote that on there, screwed the filter on. And on 2 occasions, the owners came out and completely lost their ever minds because I wrote 666 hours on their filter. I'm like, look, man, you can scratch it off, you can change it. I really don't give two shit, but I'm just doing my job. Go run the tractor for 20 minutes. Change it. I don't know. Superstitious farmers. No, these weren't farmers. Farmers are not well, they are superstitious, but not in that way. Not in that way. Axis Thor module is the Axis Thor module STM32. I do not believe so. I don't believe so, but nope. It's ESP 8285. God, ESP 8285 is not a STM32 module. At least I don't think so. From the specs that I'm seeing, I don't have one, obviously, because I'm not going to spend $130 on a freaking module. Ugh, that's ridiculous. This thing is just, like, I get it. This is a really, like, high-end module, but why would I want Crossfire level of hanging outy when I don't like? Why would you want this when you could have it fit flush? Like, this thing doesn't provides 1 watt, and there are modules that fit flush that can provide 1 watt. The upside to this is you can use it on like Spectrum radios and things that need that plug under the bay, kind of like what Crossfire did. Why do you not show it? Gosh. I guess it's right there, sort of, but so it does have that appeal for it, and the only people who should be buying this are people. Yeah, there it is, right there. There's the connection that you will need if you had like a Futaba or a Spectrum radio and you want to run ExpressLRS. Yeah, even the BetaFPV ones, they're using this little icon symbology now on the OLED, which is really nice. But I see no reason for this module unless you just want to just flex that you have that thing. But why? Yeah, Brandon, I don't know why they're sold out. People must be buying them. It may just be the people that are running, non-standard radios that don't have JR bays. I mean, there's a lot of them out there, so people might be doing it. For those who love spending money, here's the most premium LRS module you can buy. You know what? I should sell my DIY modules for $140. That's $1 more than these. I think people buy them. There was a thing back in the day, like if you priced your product too cheap, people will assume it's garbage. You may just be pricing it correctly or competitively. They'll think it's garbage, but if you just jack the price up to an unreasonable level, people will think this is some premium stuff and we should buy this, even though nothing's changed. Morton. Athex says, cute old guy, back in my day we had a radio for every plane unless you strip the crystals out. Oh yeah, no kidding. I had a balsa glider when I was a kid. I never put it together, but it had an old crystal radio. Yeah. What's a good ELRS module I should buy? I can personally vouch for the BetaFPV 1 watt module. I think that is probably the best module out there. But there are a lot of other modules that are very competitive, very comparable. I mean, there's a lot of them that are pretty close to the same module. Let's see, Beta FPV. Let's see, drones, electronics, radio transmitters. This one here, not this one here, but they have a 1 watt module in black. Has all the bells and whistles. Has the VTX backpack function on it. Does 1 watt. Has an active cooling fan. Ergobleds. Has ergobleds. Comes with a Moxon style antenna, like so. Comes with a regular dipole antenna. Has external power if you want to power it that way. Has the bigger slot for the USB-C that's outside of the USB spec, so you can fit all your out-of-spec USB-C cables. 5-way joystick, which works great. It doesn't unbind itself when you activate it anymore. That was all firmware issues. And it's a very reasonable $49.99. This is my personal pick for an ExpressLRS module. Actually, that's the one I'm using. That's the one I'm using in my Mambo. And I love it. No issues at all. It is a little funky. There's some things about it that I haven't done a review on it yet, and I really need to. So there's some things about it that people will see and they'll think, what in the frig is that? There's dip switches on the back. The reason why there's dip switches is because there's only one USB port, and here's where Jumper screwed up. There are 3 different things that this module can do. Well, there's 2. There's 2 different modules inside of this. Sorry, 2. You have your ExpressLRS module, and then you have your VTX backpack module. To be able to flash either one through a singular USB port, you need to be able to send signals to one and to the other, and enable the boot pins. And that's what these dip switches do. Is it allows you to, hey, I'm going to flash the ELRS module through the USB port. Go this way. I want to flash the VTX backpack. Go this way. But also with that, you can flash them all independently over Wi-Fi and not have to touch those switches. So you have the best of both worlds. All right, we are way past our time for spinning the wheel for the Darwin FPV Baby Ape. I'm going to close the responses down in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you didn't get in, I'm sorry. Better luck next time. Why did you do it this way, you dumb piece of garbage? Give me a couple seconds here to... Here, go look at the dogs. Look at the dogs. Just trying to set up the wheel here, but you can watch the doggo cam. They don't do a whole lot, do they? All right, guys, here we go. Here is the wheel of names for everybody who has joined the giveaway. If you haven't gotten in the giveaway, the best way to do it is to join my Patreon and become part of the $5 club. I send the link out to you guys first. Anybody under that gets it the day of the live stream. And if you're not a member, it's still available. There's no purchase required, but you got to find the link. It is hidden on the internet someplace. I'm sure some people would be able to figure it out. Morton Upshot, I didn't even have to ask. You already got in there. 42 seconds for the wheel. 41, 42. All right, guys, here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good luck. How many times has that won you something on the wheel with the 42? I'm kind of curious. I like dags. You like dags? I like dags. I like my dags. I like all dogs. Who's it gonna be today? Okay, at least it's not as starts. It's gonna be Brian Huff or Dial Up. It's gonna be Dial Up, isn't it? I know what you did. Congratulations, Dial Up. You have won the Darwin Baby Ape. Hit me up over on Discord, or I'll send you an email later on today. We'll get your shipping information down, and we'll get this out to you. All right, guys, closing thoughts. What do you guys think? What do you think of the Jumper T Pro? I mean, I know most of you don't have them. I think probably one of you out there has one. At least one of you out there has one. I don't know what you guys think. Let's see. Splinter, dang, I wish I woke up earlier. Missed the whole stream. You know what? You can go back and rewatch the DVR. That would help me out. Ricardo Ferreira says, I have a FR Sky module, the XJT Lite, which I don't use. Could this one day be flash ExpressLRS? No, it cannot. It will never be, and it cannot be. Sorry. It does not have the right chipset in it. It has a CC2500 chip. ExpressLRS runs off the LoRa chipset. They don't do the same things. Sorry. Wifey says no. Okay, I'll spin it again for somebody else. You want me to do that? You want me to spin it for somebody else? Let me know. Just say respin, and I'll spin it again. I mean, after all, if your wife says no. Freeloader says, look at the Pyro TX16 Pro Max. Ugh, gross. This is a gross radio. Why? Why do you need that big honking... All right. I do not like the TX16 anything. Far too big. Far too complex. It's not for us. It's not for flying quads. It's for flying fixed wing and all sorts of stuff. You can do a ton of stuff with it if you're doing long range stuff and you want to be able to see your telemetry on a screen. That's cool. It's just, why would you... Bag real estate is a premium. Why would you want to consume a 10th of your bag or more with just a radio? That's the way I look at it. It's too big, too heavy. I don't like it. It's a great radio, though, finally. You know, they've had a lot of growing pains in the beginning, kind of like this guy. They eventually figured things out. But, yeah. It says, I now have 7 active quads. Good thing I didn't win one. You got close. You got close. But close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. Steady Ace says, Grants, as far as new radios, I'm sticking with what I have and using a module. That's not a bad idea. I have a nano long range, a whoop, so this will be a great addition. Yes, and thank you for your contribution over on Patreon. Brandon McKinney's, I agree, the TX16 is just too much radio. yeah, I mean, if I flew fixed wing, a lot of fixed wing, and did long range stuff, or, you know, where I want to be able to like look down and see my telemetry and have like an ADI on there and stuff, that would be freaking cool. I don't do that. I fly quads. Oh God, Athix. Here we go. Here's his first radio. The Attack 12 or Attack 4. Jeez. I feel like that gives you cancer if you're too close to it. No, I'm just messing with you, Donald. I'm just messing with you. Radio's most important piece of gear over the goggles. TX6 is my radio for planes, trucks, quads. No need for multiple radios. Yep. I mean, it all depends on what your use case is. I only fly quads, and this will do everything. Well, I have fixed wing. I just don't fly them as much as I would like to. But trim switches are a must for me. Any radio that comes out that doesn't have trim switches is kind of like dead in the water for me. That's one of the big things I didn't like about the Tango is no trim switches. Yes, I know there's an auto trim function, and I know they integrate it with the stupid clicky rolly wheel thing, but that sucked. It was a sucky implementation of it. I want to like this radio. I want to like it. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see if the Zorro beats it out as far as I'm concerned. Like, 1 watt's kind of nice, but no VTX backpack, that's a huge killer for me. Just right off the bat, that right there is probably going to be... Yeah. Ran that radio on the AM band. Oof. I think half the people here don't understand what the AM band is. Or even know what AM means. All right, guys, it's noon. Mr. Joshua Bardwell will be streaming here momentarily. I assume he's streaming. He usually does. And if he does not... Is he streaming today? Oh, wait, I don't think he is. No, I don't think he's streaming today. Is he? What do you guys think? Is he? Yeah, North 49, you got it. You know what it is. June Loco says he occasionally rips the Tango 1. Nice. Nice. I have Jumper T Pro, and the gimbals make me hate it. What about the gimbals do you not like? Is it the length, the feel, the throw, the positioning? I'm curious if you feel the same way that I feel about it. 1 more hour then? Well, it'd be 2 because Ciati doesn't usually stream till 4. And I would have to go till then. Oh man, I don't want to stream for another hour. No, I just have stuff I gotta do. All right, guys, I gotta get going. It makes a crackling noise. Mine don't do that. Tell you what, June Loco, if you're gonna keep the radio, get yourself some Niagel and just butter those contact surfaces. Just put on there, and it'll make those gimbals feel premium. It has done it for every radio that I've put it on. Really makes a big difference. All right, guys, I need to get going. I have stuff I got to do today. I've got gerbil cages to clean, houses to have, floors to mop. I brought the motorcycle in. It's in the basement with me now, nice and warm and cozy for the winter. It was getting kind of disgusting out in the garage. Cats were sitting on it and shit. I have an X-Lite that's been pooping out on me a year later. Oh, that sucks. But parts for the X-Lite are very available at Aloft Hobbies. They stock just about every part for every FR Sky radio. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Thank you all for coming out. I greatly appreciate it. If you want to support me, go to tweetfp.com. Click those affiliate links. Those will give me a cut. If you want to be a super supporter, super fan, and help me out the most. Why did that change? Why? Stupid OBS. Every time. Every time. I've got to come back here. I've got to adjust the stupid Patreon scroll because it wants to change. Why do you do this to me? Like, it's supposed to be, so that looks like it's coming from right there, not from outside in space. Just stay there. Don't change. Why do you do this? Every damn time. Love OBS. If you want to be a supporter, go to Patreon, tweetfb.com, Patreon, all that stuff, and chip into the pot. Every bit of it comes right back to this channel. And for super cool giveaways like this one today, I have no idea what I'm going to give away next month, but I got some ideas. All right, folks, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for checking us out. And as always, please stay positive. Even if you have issues with this, go check out the video on how to fix it. I'll see you next time.